Over 100 million eyes may well be looking at Minnesota and the US Bank Stadium tonight, but we've got our own piece of action. The third round of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulations heads itself over to the Netherlands, to Circuit Park Zandvoort, for what will be a fantastic evening's worth of racing, and it will start next here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Welcome to Sunday night here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live, and welcome to the third round of Season 11 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation. Will Vincent, Jake Sperry, Sunday night once again, and we head ourselves over to Holland, Jake, to one of my favourite racetracks in the world, probably my favourite road racing circuit. 2.6 miles in length. We're going to do 21 miles of racing here today.
Oh, you bet we are. And, well, 50 minutes goes by in a blink of an eye. And this circuit, well, let's put it into perspective. It's got all the ups, it's got all the downs, it's got some of the most unique and challenging corners in all of sim racing and all of racing as well. And you look at this circuit, which has arguably what you could say in iRacing terms, a full grid. This race is not going to be for the faint of hearted. This is going to be one of those tracks where you have to be pinpoint accurate. The moment you step out of line is the moment you're getting bumped off freight trains and you're finding yourself in one of the fabled gravel traps.
Yep. 2K World Cup point standings. Well, it was Adam Blocker leading after 2 rounds here. However, we're going to make a Super Bowl joke. There's no Blocker here because they're all the way over in Minnesota.
We've got no blockers, and that's going to be a shame, but that's the way it's going to be, unfortunately for us. So we're going to get sacked. We're going to have to go for like a 4th and 54 or something like that, and it's going to work for us.
Yeah. You know that she had a 3rd and something like 94 in a college football game this year. We'll talk about that one at some point in the future. Qualifying, by the way, is underway. Drivers are on their out laps. 2 laps, as always, to go as far as you can. Shorter track distance than some of the tracks we go to. So we're going to see our grid completed, I say, about in the next 4 minutes. Got a number of drivers on track. You mentioned one of them that just made me a little bit interesting, which means we need to pay attention to our fuel gauges.
Oh, yes, we do, because Once again, our good old friend in the 91 machine has graced us with his presence. Vinicius Rocha, the man who always looks to go daring on the fuel, and more often than not finds himself without fuel, siphoning to the end. So here's a driver who has all the talent in the world, Will, who could go win races if he just put in a little bit more fuel. We'll see if he gets his numbers correct today.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I like this track so much, you just have a look at all the camber and all the curves. You know, they really do use a natural landscape well at this track. Absolutely love this corner. Downhill, offset, camber, into the braking zone. Can't get on the power too early here. But now you're into that difficult middle section, which really does. Oh, Vinny sliding there through 6.
Yeah, you've really got to have great turning as you just slow these vehicles down with more right-hander on right-hander action as you head through Marlborough, then into Renault as you hit the long 180-degree left-hander. Another corner where you think, well, I can put the power on early, and then suddenly you find yourself with an abundance of understeer and go, wait, this wasn't what I signed up for. As you then head yourself over to the Audi S, arguably the most iconic section of track out on the circuit. The right, then the big depression down into the left. You can't ask for much better. A very well-built, oval-inspired circuit, Will. And I think that's one of the reasons why you love it. Yeah, I do. And then this final corner as well. Again, off camera, you put the power down now, and you kind of hope for the best in qualifying mode, that you get it right until the very end now. So, lap times will start to appear on the left-hand side of your screen. And for Vinicius Rocha, he's going to cross the start-finish line now, 151.6. And we will get you some lap times up. There we are. Iro Nom currently fastest in terms of qualifying. So he has it for the moment. Brian Dewell second, Borja Zazo third, Tyler Hervius in 4th place now. Johnny Gawindi up into 2nd place. Johnny Gawindi there, Evolution Racing Team. First time we've seen him this season. We know how strong he can be. Justin Tipton on a good run. Mr. 2K World Cup onto the front row. No shocks, no surprises. Diogo Francisco. Here's a man kicking up a scene on the Skip Barber Race Series on Wednesday nights. He's now suddenly putting himself in. Alfredo Malo, Teo Martin now up to 2nd. It doesn't matter how quick you go. It's still 6 thousandths in Iro Nom's favour. I think he'll be very happy with the rolling Estonian.
Yes, and the thing to note is a lot of drivers here are doing 2 laps, one after the other. There are certain tracks where they'll go out and do a second on a fresher set of tyres. Not going to be the case here, but here is provisional pole position driver of Iro Nom. And, well, the Bushwink car looking very strong right now as he just finally navigated all to the right into the left. A bit, I'd say a bit of counter steer. That was a lot of counter steer there for Iro Nom as he now comes down into the Audi S.
There was so much counter steer, you may have just activated his trap card there, Will. That's how much counter there was. And well, Iro Nom, that could really be adverse on the lap. You can see so aggressive, hitting the anti-cut curb in through the start of the Audi S. He wants to narrow this track down from 4.3 to probably 4 kilometers, the amount of curb he wants to be taking at every single corner. You can really attack this penultimate one, but you can see just how wide he goes on the exit. You've got to be so careful picking up a 1x here, a 1x there. There's not really much opportunity for you to make things right. Rocha needs a lap time. He'll cross the line. And you know what? Borja Zazo, road, wow! Vinny, 51.2. Where has that come from?
Out of nowhere for Vinicius Rocha. Justin Tipton crossing the line in 9th place. And Tipton up into 2nd. Gawindi up into 2nd.
Oh, it's going to be a game of seconds. Mr. 2K World Cup needs something to argue back with, and he argues back with a 51.3. He's up into 2nd now, so it seems that the day of seconds is reckoning. Francisco only manages position number 5, and you keep looking at Alfredo Malo. What can he do? He does himself a 51.4. He goes up into the 2nd row. Andrew Picorio, white cars matter. A lap time would matter as well, Andrew. You've got one more after this. He does himself a 51.9. That's not good. That's only for the 6th row. Yeah, that's only 13th place right now for Picorio. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. So we've got 3 minutes remaining in qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, on RaceSpot TV. Most drivers have actually now set themselves their lap. So all we've got now to do is just wait for drivers like Picorio to see what will happen over the course of the last 90 seconds or so. We are going to take you RaceSpot TV side by side for just 90 seconds. We'll be back momentarily.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Vicario bottled it, but get this, Jake. Tran up into second place, 151.319.
Wow, Tuan Tran, and you could argue home soil, Club Benelux. He's found something. He's got maybe a couple of tenths off the proverbial fans here that has done him some good justice. The only driver I see out on circuit is Edwin Villarino. He crosses the line. He does himself a 52 flat. That pushes him up to P17, the positive sim racing driver. But it just has to be said here, this qualifying, it's thrown a twist, it's thrown a turn, everybody's improved, and I think it's very well worth saying, Iru Nom was first. He's now 9th.
That says a lot, really, because that 161, in fact, anyone inside your top 14 drivers has a shot of winning today.
Agreed. Need I say more?
Yeah. In fact, let's run you through your starting grid then for this round number 3 of the 2K World Cup, brought to you by DES Simulations. As well, at the front of your field, it is Mr. Vinicius Rocha, 151.28 seconds, 287 seconds even from the number 91 machine. Tran, home field advantage, 32 1,000ths of a second back. Philippe Leber inside row number 2, Alfredo Malo there, sorry, on the outside of that second row. Row number 3, Johnny Gawindi and Justin Tipton, with Diego Francisco and Borges Azo in row number 4. Then we cycle on back. It's Iro Nom in 9th place with Tyler Hervius in 10th. Enzo Canto, Brian Lockwood, they are row number 6. Row 7, Greg Zeet and Andrew Picorio. And note that it takes 12 drivers before we're outside of half a second here at Zandvoort. Francois Boulien and Brian Duell, row number 8. Row 9, Edwin Valerino, Kurt Crum. Row 10, JB Masida and Daniel Nugaris there. And here are the remainder of your results, cycling through at what is going to be a fantastic race, Jake. If qualifying is anything to go by, whoop whoop, all aboard the Conga train.
Oh, yes, and those starting at the back, those who didn't set lap times, Alexi Callio up there in the championship, Carl Dronke, probably not going to get drunk spiked into turn number 1, but looking to try and make some positions, and of course the Don Parks. You are looking to make some moves, you are looking to gain some positions, and remember, the guys at the back will not be seeing that start-finish line lights go off. They've got to react on instinct.
That is going to be one thing that is important. Let's look at your track graphic one more time then as we get set to go racing. Go on, give me a driver. Who do you think is going to win it there today, Jake?
Well, the last time I did this, I was proven correct, Will, so I'm going to be very cautious with who I pick. I reckon we're going to have a new winner. I think we're going to have Justin Tipton have a coming-of-age race.
Okay. There we can see your field is beginning to line up. Vinicius Rocha at the front end of it, as the drivers are all getting set. There is the front of your field. Almost got all the drivers on board now. Waiting for 2 more. And then we can get racing. Either that or they're going to start on pit road because time is almost up for them. So happy Super Bowl Sunday. But we've got racing to do first here at Zandvoort. 21 laps worth of racing. Lights are on top of the gantry. Who is going to make it a Sunday to remember? We are going to find out now. Good start there at the front of your field by Vinny, and Tran tucks in right behind as they come down into this parabolic turn number 1 for the first time. 2 wide in the middle part of your pack, 3 wide behind them. Are they all going to survive? They are at the front, Vinny and Tran, P1 and 2, but the track narrows in now. This is where you've really got to be careful because the track will narrow as they'll come through 2, 3 and 4 and into this very difficult turn number 4. This is where we can see incidents happen, but for the most part, Jake, we are away.
We are away and we are clean, and that's fantastic to see from everybody. No real contact up or down this field, which is what we like to see from the 2K World Cup. As you look at the likes of Philippe Labert trying to challenge Tran, being hounded by ex-teammate Johnny Goindi. I wonder how much bad blood will remain between the pair of them, because you remember what happened as Labert gets all off the circuit, has to gather it up and recover it. How has he managed to do that? He's missed a 2K World Cup for a reason. He does things that no mortal man can do. Yeah,
we're on board of him actually as he now works himself. Still behind Tran, but that was very, very lucky there by Philippe Labert. Update, only 2 drivers out earlier on, and that is Carl Dronkate and Don Parks by the looks of it. But we see as we cycle through your packs, they all work themselves now down into the Audi S for the first time. This is one of the most famous corners, I think, in all of North. Oh, we got a trouble. We got wrecked. We got a wreck there. At least 2 cars involved there, Jake.
It is. Anthony Cat is off, and Tyler Hervius even off of the circuit. He'll take forever to get back on, but a big bit of contact. Not ideal for these sorts of drivers to be dealing with. Not on the first lap as well, with 21 laps, and especially cold conditions as well. It's a lot easier for things to happen, and these dudes, although they give cover, Will, we have ourselves 12 kilometers an hour of winds from the southwest. That's not going to be very easy.
No, so we had about 3 or 4 drivers involved in that. Live timing and scoring will be available in just one moment's time. Labert tries to put the pressure on Tran through turn number 1. Was not able to do so. Tarzan corner now into 2, 3 and 4 once again. Holt even as they come into the long left-hander. Very weird line taken by Vinny that time, by kind of diamonding off the corner quite a bit. And as they do it, now just having a look back, the pack is starting to form currently with 10 drivers in it. Enzo Cantor at the rear.
Well, Enzo Cantor has struggled all of last season to try and get a result where he could actually start these races, and he's managed to get that now. He's going to take it with both hands and capitalize on it, Will. He wants to be in that situation where he's pushing forward. You look at all these drivers in this train, you're looking at Johnny Goindi probably the most. He's trying to be the most aggressive here. Labert's trying to harass the back of Tran. Why? Because his teammate's leading the race. He wants to give Vinny Rocha a return to remember, and Tran wants to spoil the party. Remember, Tran won a race last season. He wants another.
He does indeed. As we have a look at Johnny Goindi then in P number 4, hunting down former teammate of Philippe Labert down into the Audi S. Right-hander. Then a very long 180-degree left-hander, which really does put pressure on the drivers. Behind, just having a look through, we have got a little scrap going on. Francois Bullion versus Greg Zietz as well. This is for P number 12 on track. We're not seeing too many people make big moves early on in this race, and that's really a part of the nature of this track. You've got to pick them off one at a time, Jake. It's not like what we see at other tracks like Sonoma, for example, where we're going to see 3-4 wide racing the entire thing. You've got to really work for your passes here, as Bullion going to cut to the outside on the run down into Tarzan.
Yes, he wants that run into Tarzan, and well, he got that all out of the penultimate corner. Seats was a little bit wide. Contact between Orion and TT Racing, and Bullion pays the price for trying to really harass Greg Seats down to the inside, because Positive Sim Racing's Brian Duval takes advantage. Is that Goindi gone?
Yeah, Goindi fell well down our timing and scoring field, coming into turn number 1. So he had some form of an incident. And I did see him falling well down timing and scoring, but he looks as well. He's pulled that car on towards pit road now. Here's a replay.
That looks technical, Will. Oh, I don't have anything else to say. He just goes straight on at turn number 2. It looks technical from my standpoint.
No, he hits Tran first.
Wow.
Yeah, he hits Tran down in turn number 1. That clearly broke the suspension. and he pulled off track. So Turan got a clobbering on the left rear. I'm surprised that 21's still in the race.
I am surprised as well. Well, it seemed that Labert got the move. Gawindi was trying to go late on the brakes, and I think there's a lot of luck there with Tuan Tran. There's not much you can really say or do to really negotiate that. He's lucky he can still fight Labert, but all of that has gone, well, hello, my name's Vinny Rocha. I'm clear of this one. Question becomes, do I have enough fuel in my tank? Well, you never really know, will you?
He will do for now. It depends on what he does in the pit stops. It's Bullion going side by side with Edwin Valerino. That was down into the Audi S that time by. But the gap between Labert and Vinicius Rocha is just over a second as they come out of Arlandite Corner, named of course after the famous IndyCar driver. Down towards Tarzan Corner they will come again onto lap number 4 of 21. Live timing and scoring, if you said, is available here on Racesport TV. Just visit racesport.tv/timing. And I'm having a look. Labert is just about keeping within 1 second, but he's going to have to be mighty up the hill if he's going to keep that deficit to under 1 second.
Well, the crucial thing is, up the hill, he will have Vinny Rocha trying to punch the hole through the air. It won't be much of a hole, but it'll be something he will try to hold on to. And just like this, you will see he will struggle to keep that draft because of the twists and turns, the lefts and the rights. But he's keeping himself well measured, well within his right, as the train of 10 has now become a train of 9. And it's a big trace train behind as well. Brian Lockwood going at it against Kurt Crum. He had a great showing, actually, in the majors just a few hours ago as he gets close, but no cigars right now for Brian Lockwood. And this is the thing, you're going to get this chase train, and they are really going to struggle to get back to these guys because you've got Rocha pushing the pace, and everybody's trying to latch on. Yeah,
right now, and it's a case of the gap between Cantor and Pecoro is currently 3 seconds exactly, although looking at their last lap times, they were actually about 0.8 of a second slower, that second pack. So we'll ignore them for a moment, although we believe there's some technical issues for Philippe Labert. We'll keep you up to date with that one, but Turan back up into P number 2. Technical issues for Philippe Labert.
Oh, it's heartbreak for Mr. 2K World Cup, and he's number 2 for Mr. 2K. And it's not worked out for him here either, so he'll be using yet another one of the drop weeks. And you feel that someone like Alfredo Malo, someone like Iru Nom will be very, very pleased at the way this is panning out. You even talk about someone like Borja Zazo, someone like Brian Duell, who needs these points early. They are going to be drivers who are happy. The gap now 1 second between Rocha and Tran, and now Alfredo Malo and the Teo Martin esports machine, one of the few teams to go from real world into sim racing, now needs to pounce.
Yeah, and there is that 204 car, middle of this 3-car pack. You can see with the red and the white liveried car, hint of blue on there as well. But Alfredo Malo, he's one of those drivers that when he gets into the zone, he can be absolutely fantastic. And the thing is now, him and Tran have going to have to find a way of really working together, because over the last half a lap or so, Vinny has gained half a second over this duo.
Exactly. Well, trio, really. You can argue that Justin Tipton's wanting to get in on the action. It seems that Vinicius Rocha has been walking away with this one, it seems. And if Vinny is given a chance to run away, you would expect him to take it by the scruff of the neck and try and go for it. So that's what he's got to think about. And the question becomes, does Tuan Tran actually have the pace to match Vinicius Rocha lap in, lap out? Remember, this is only a 21-lap race, so the pit stop window really opens in about the next 3 laps or so, Will. You really don't have much of an opportunity to really impose yourself before things happen. And I'm not sure all these drivers understand how important this race victory needs to be for them.
Yeah, in terms of pit sequence here, it's a case of everyone being like a McDonald's drive-through. Everyone in, everyone out, pretty much the same time, done. Just having a look at Bullion, of course. We know Bullion had himself a bit of an issue. He's still in 13th place. Brian Duell, Greg Zeitz, they are battling at it for about the 100th time, I'd say, in 2K World Cup over the last few seasons.
Over this last season itself, you could really say here, because it seems that they have been the best of the mid-pack, and they've always been there, always in this scrap. Brian Dewell then goes to the inside because white cars matter. Andrew Pecorio has certainly put himself there, and I'd love to see Pecorio in a scrap, and well, it's going to be too wide in the end because Dewell's going to take the outside line, but he's going to be stuck on the outside track for the next right-hander. But if he can keep it there, he's got the advantage for the 180-degree left-hander. He makes it done before he even gets to the corner, Will. Yep. He makes me look very, very foolish.
He does, but he worked that outside line well at Tarzan, and you can do that. So expect a lot of drivers to try and work that high side on the final lap of this race. And last time by, Mallow did get himself ahead of Tran. The gap, however, between P1 and P2 up to 1.5 seconds, and there is a look at the lap chart. They're losing a little bit a lap, but still, it doesn't matter because they have lost the draft, and once you're 1.5 seconds back, that will gain exponentially pretty quickly if you do not have the draft to work with. So now it's a case of Mallow, who's already lost 2 tenths this lap, what can he do over the next couple?
Well, that's going to be the question of the Teo Martin Esports drive, and already he's pulling away a couple of tenths of a second on Antoine Tran, who wants to give himself a little bit of a gap. The question is, will Justin Tipton try and follow Tran through? Will he be freight trained, essentially, and put off of the train and towards the rear of it? Someone like Irunom, for example, he is the master of saving fuel. He's the master of just waiting for opportunity. Side by side in the second pack, though, Will, because we got Kurt Crum and Brian Lockwood going at it, and Lockwood has gone around the outside of the Audi S, inside for the next right-hander. Makes that one look quite comfortable. Yeah, Lockwood up to 14th place, working himself ahead of Kurt Crum into Ari Lyndike corner again in the number 155 versus 144 car. And it's reversed here. Number 14 position, 155. Number 15 place, 144. They're going to sort it back out now. Sort my dyslexia out. There we are. 144 car, looking to the inside, looking for 14th place. Slide jobs everywhere, but it looks as though they might stay as they were for the moment. Indeed, Lockwood will stay ahead of Kurt Crum for the minute. For the minute, but that's all it will be. It's very much all on the grass. All take the wide line and allow back in Daniel Nogueras, sitting and waiting in the wings in this train. The gap opens 1.7 seconds, and Justin Tipton now is also through. Antoine Tran, and now Diogo Francisco probably thinking, when's my time to shine? When am I going to make it? And the big key maker here of this, Will, is there is a slight tweak of damage to the front left wing of Antoine Tran. There's not much difference that it can be made here in terms of racing a Skip Barber, but my goodness, when you're at a circuit which is so downforce dependent as Zandvoort, a little bit of front wing makes all the difference. Well, don't forget also he got that clobbering on the left rear as well, so the entire left-hand balance of that race car might well be completely shot for Tran. Here comes Diego Francisco. We're on board of him again. He does pull out the draft though, so he's not intent on making that pass too quickly. As Roman Couches has fallen down our timing and scoring screen. We'll try and see if we can give you an update on that one. He's falling down even further. P number 25. There's a big pack going on there, but it looks as though that Roman has just fallen to the very rear, but if not a bit further. Replay coming up. Well, it seems that the big dog has had a bit of issues then when it's come to this one. So he's lost 1, 2, 3. Oh, it was contact, Will. It was contact with L. Leroy Coppage on the brakes into Marlborough. Big shunt, and he's gone Tokyo drift sideways. How he's held that, I will never know. Yeah, let's get ourselves one more look then from our aerial coverage. And there you can just see he just about avoids, as our camera angle is just going to go behind one of the big dunes at this racetrack. But Raymond Calger down in P number 25 now. Brian Dewell, Andrew Pecoria, they've been going at it. And Andrew Pecoria will stay ahead because white cars continue to matter in the number 168 car versus the number 88 of Brian Dewell. Now they'll come through Hugenholtz corner and up the hill again. P number 9 versus P number 10. We just showed the graphic a moment ago about gains and losses. No real big movers inside your top 15. The highest up is 5. But Jake, that's more because of the fact that we've had drivers out of this event having issues more than people doing too much on the racetrack. Well, I disagree with you. Brian Dewell +6 has worked hard, but, you know, it's one number, so it's not much difference. But, yeah, there has been a little bit of fortune about it, but you work yourself into a position Someone like Irunom's had to work +3. Someone like Borjazazo's +1. Someone like Diogo Francisco +2. Tuantran -2 has gone completely the wrong way in this event. So you have to make sure that you're in the right positions and you're placing yourself for the pit stop window. Worth noting as well, Rocha lost a 10th.5 on that last lap to Alfredo Malo. The gap came down to 1.7.
That's going to be worth noting then. And what's going to happen this time? Because it does look as though Vinny's losing a bit more time all of a sudden. The gap is down to 1.6 seconds as it stands. There's your second pass. They all storm through the Audi S as Greg Zeitz actually, Brian Dewell. That one's calmed down for the moment, but behind it's still more looking like Bullian, Lockwood. All these drivers down, and P14 15 as Tipton indeed. He now goes to the inside. How was he doing before they even got into Tarzan, Jake?
Yeah, that was as easy as you like. And now Justin Tipton wants to be the aggressor, wants to start making moves. And I said at the beginning, I was expecting a coming-of-age drive from Justin Tipton. He's decided he wants to do the work, the line share of it, trying to apply the pressure to Vinicius Rocha, who will be one of the toughest nuts in the field to try and crack. So you look at Justin Tipton, you think about wanting to share that responsibility, same can be said, but the big thing has been, there's been a massive, massive incident. Irunom has been involved, and that was down at Hugenholz.
Yeah, and I believe it might be Diego Francisco involved in that one as well. Here comes a replay.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
I have no other words for that, Will, except that Diogo Francisco really did come across Irunom's line.
Yeah, let's try and see if we can get another look at this one from our overhead coverage. Yeah, you're completely right, Jake. Nowhere that Irunom could have gone, apart from off-track into the arm coat barrier, straggling along the tyre barrier a little bit there, but Irunom's car is toast. Diego Francisco's out.
Well, Diego Francisco out of the event, and that is... Oh! Now, that would be very interesting with the way he's gone out. If it's with technical difficulties, which I think it is, then that is a very interesting way that that instance occurred, Will.
Yes, indeed. And that will be interesting to see what will happen in terms of review, protest, and penalty points coming into the next round of the championship as well. Gap between Vinny and Tipton over 2 seconds now. So Vinny has put on the afterburners. So come to start lap number 10 here. As side by side, Mayo and Tipton again in towards Tarzan, behind on pit road. Brian Dewell, we've got Pecoria, we've got Lockwood, all coming in at the same time. 4 drivers on the lane with Nogueras as well, Jake.
Well, this is one of the toughest lanes in the world. You can put it up there with Alton Park in terms of tightness. You can even put it up there with the Circuit of Monaco with just how tight getting down onto pit road is. And going early like this is a gamble because you know you've got to work hard to get back into this one. Drivers normally like going late. Brian Dewell, the first one to jump. He gets everybody. He gets the white cars matters. He gets the likes of Brian Lockwood. Kashka looks to come down onto the lane. And Daniel Nogueras out last as expected, but that's the way it sometimes goes. You look to try and give yourself an opportunity, an advantage, and Kurt Crum, who pitted even a lap earlier than them, is there in the mix as well. So very interesting pit stop cycle. Quite early, I would note. Yeah,
drivers who have pitted then. Brian Dewell, 13.3. Andrew Pecoria, 13.4. Brian Lockwood, 13. Kurt Crum, 11.5. Bear that one in your mind. And Daniel Nogueras in 12.4. Both Crum and Nogueras, I think, are running a little bit light on fuel. But there is your race leader. There is the driver of Vinicius Rocha into the Audi S, concluding lap number 10. He has got a little bit of traffic that will be coming up around him very shortly. That won't be an issue too much. It's only one driver, but we'll get to the halfway point of this event about halfway through the next lap. So here is Vinicius Rocha then, just keeping an eye to see if he comes on towards pit road or not. We doubt he'll come in this early. And indeed, he will stay out and complete another lap here around Circuit Zandvoort, as well as P2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They will all stay out as well. What about Greg Zeitz coming out the final corner? We've got 1 or 2 drivers coming in. Edwin Ballerino is going to come on towards pit road. And there's a look at just how hard it is to get on towards pit road here, Jake.
Yeah, you can see Viorino maybe a little less confident, I think's the right word there. So Edwin Viorino takes the safety route, and why wouldn't you? You want to score some consistent points. You go in as safely and as effectively as you possibly can. There's 2 strategies that you play here. You go pretty much balls to the walls aggressive, or you maybe look at an opportunity to say, well, I can sit back. Enzo Cantor and Borja Zazo, for example, they can't afford to sit back. They've dropped a second and a half, in fact, a second and 3/4 to Tuan Tran. If they want to get involved in this race, they want to go forward, but Borja Zazo won't want to get involved, Will. As things stand, he currently leads the championship.
He does. And he saw Enzo Cantor's back end just sliding around a little bit. That was through Shivlek there into Mulber corner, now towards Renault. And, well, Zazo, I think, can still be a dark horse here for a podium. I think that he's just sizing up his competition. He sat behind Enzo Cantor as they worked through Vodafone corner. Power to you. Now to that little run, that medium length straightaway here, but you can't really get too much of the draft before you come into the Audi S. So Zazo will have to stay behind for the time being. We are now at the halfway point of the event. We have got side-by-side again involving Francois Bullion. This time it is with Casey Black by the looks of it. Number 131 versus number 65 car. Bullion does not complete the pass that time by, so it will remain where he is in P number 11 as it stands. We've got your race lead on towards pit road. Vinicius Rocha onto lane P number 2, P number 3 coming in at the same time. You can just see how close Tipton was, just clipping his left wheels on that tyre barrier on the way in. But P number 1, P number 2, P number 3, P number 4, all on the lane. Take it away, Jake.
Yeah, they are, and Vinicius Rocha's let Tuan Tran stay out, so Tuan Tran will not have a dancing partner for this next lap. He will go qualifying, and you'd expect Rocha maybe, if he wants safety, he'll get out first, and he'll get out first by a long stretch of the way, but he should go with the safety option. Very interesting. Tipton gets the jump in the stop, gets out, gets away, and the question was he a little bit too quick off of that lane? Because I saw him have to check back up again when it came to that line. He got himself going, very crucial factor, but now Vinicius Rocha very much on that same strategy. I think that he's fueled for the safe number this time, and I say fair going.
Yeah, he's within that 13-second range, so although you do have to remember that he hasn't saved any fuel behind anyone, so he'll be close, but I don't think as close as he's been in races previous. Tipton versus Mallow. I do actually want to have a look back, see whether we can have a look at Tipton coming out of pit road. Yeah, he did. He did slow it down, Jake, to try to ensure at the very least, but he didn't get a speeding penalty. It will be interesting if he does end up having to come back down the lane because of one.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's worth noting that these Skip Barbers, they're not like your normal vehicle. This isn't like a Formula 1 car. They don't have speed limiters. Your control of your pit speed limiter is your right foot and your left foot. You have to make sure that you get that right, as there was a shocking corner there for Alfredo Mallow through Renault. He has to make sure that he is incredibly careful that he doesn't have too many more corners like that, because that was atrocious from a driver of his caliber. Rocha now hits the traffic. He's got Chris Malcolm just in front, which is not ideal. And
Tuan Tran was an inch away from hitting the Armco barrier on towards pit road.
But it's the narrowest pit road, and yeah, you are absolutely right there about Tuan Tran. You could say that the home guy has maybe a few more liberties compared to... Oh, my God.
You saw how close it was, didn't you?
He completely locked it up. How does he turn it around like that?
I'm impressed at how he got that car on towards pit road. He does classify himself as leading a lap. He will fall down. It's a long stop, actually. Did he speed on towards pit road as a consequence? I think he did.
He did. There may have even been damage if he even made contact. No, it is speeding, so he gets out and away, and he gets out and away behind Greg Seitz, behind Precario, behind Lockwood, behind Duell. He's in the second train. No, he's even off of the second train. He's behind Kurt Crum as well. Unless,
of course, he's trying to get the repairs done to either the wing or the damage he had earlier. Oh, no, that wouldn't be a case either. Scrapple, that's speeding penalty.
Speeding penalty, okay.
Yeah.
Fair play. Take that as you will. Rocha leads, Tipton second, Mallow in third. It's a three-horse race with Borja Zazo and Enzo Cantor desperately trying to cling on with every little pinky finger that they can find. But right now, it's all in the hands of Vinny Rocha, and if he doesn't make a mistake, which he rarely does on track, apart from the fuel, Vinny Rocha may have just won this race.
Yeah, Andrew Pecoria versus Brian Lockwood. This is for 7th place right now. Lockwood in the number 155 car. Lockwood actually had a pretty good run through pit road, and he compared that he was around Kurt Crum earlier on, and he's now about, I'm just trying to work this one out, about 1.5 seconds ahead of Crum. So actually, Pecoria's done a good job on that number 155 car. Brian Lockwood's done a good run on number 155 car even. Andrew Pecorio right now, though, trying to hunt him down as they come down to the Audi S once again. Looks as though Pecorio is going to try. No, he'll just stay where he is for the time being.
No, the white car matters too much to make a move like that one, Will. He'll have to sit and wait a little bit longer for a more decisive break, because when you get down into that Audi S, yes, you can make the move on the inside, but on the outside, you will see that you don't have as much of an opportunity to hold it, so you have to be incredibly careful about the way you make a move. See this run he's going to get, though, out of the penultimate corner, through the final corner. That's going to be the advantage that he will look to try and usurp, and you can see hard to the inside, giving no opportunity then for the defense for the driver of Brian Lockwood, and white cars will matter this time as he makes the move down onto the brakes, into the bank turn number 1 of Tarzan, and he will up and under contact.
Yeah, almost. They're not with both of them off the road there. Pecorio goes into the gravel. Got to be careful about off tracks here as well, because it is easy to push wide at a number of these corners. Here's a look at your standings as they stand now, as they all cross the start-finish line. Vinicius Rocha leads by 2.7 over Justin Tipton. Alfredo Mello in the 3rd place, Bottas Lazo in 4th. Enzo Canto, Brian Duell, Andrew Pecorio and Brian Lockwood. They round out your top 8, but that could have been Pecorio and Lockwood out of the event there down at Tarzan.
It could have been, and it's those fine margins in sim racing that you gamble on, and I think the pair of them, well, Brian Lockwood definitely gambled on that one working. It didn't work out in the end for him. He lost the position either way. Tuan Tran is through on Kurt Crum as well for the final spot inside of the top 10. And very crucially behind that, some drivers have really made some progress. Devon Singh is up an amazing 11 positions. And 9 positions up is Christian Kabanga. These two drivers are having a storming run today.
Yeah, and we're on board actually with Devon Singh in the number 105 Florida car, as working through Renault into the Vodafone corner right now. Kabanga, we know Kabanga can have good top 10 runs when things goes his way. He's just outside the top 10 right now in 14th place, but Kabanga's one of those drivers that, again, like the likes of Tran has been in previous years, like Pecorio has been in previous years, like Lockwood has been in previous years. We do expect him to break into the top 10, I'd say, in the next year or so.
Exactly, and there's a lot of drivers who have a lot of talent and they want to improve. You can argue the likes of a Tuan Tran, Justin Tipton as well. There are always drivers who are sitting in and around that top 10 looking for an opportunity. Sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it doesn't materialize, but I think that there has been a small change of the guard. For example, no De Freitas here for the 2nd week out of 3. And you remember that De Freitas crashed out at the circuit of Phoenix in the oval race. You look at it, I see nothing more than a brand new champion that's going to crop up. Where it's going to crop up from, though, I believe we're going to be 3 different race winners in 3 if things stay the way that they do. Could be 4 in 4, could be 5 in 5 in all honesty, Will.
Well, let's think about this a little bit. Tom Ward, for example, he's not been running in 2K for a while. He's been a dominant driver in the past. Philippe Leibert, already he's almost writing off this season. Vinicius Rocha, is he going to run a full-time schedule? We don't think so. You talk about Arian De Freitas, he's not necessarily going to have a good season. Johnny Gorindy, again, add to that list. But you're right, we could be in a situation that this could be a 2K World Cup where we might end up with 7, 8 different winners, but then it comes down to the C word, consistency. Who can get the most top 5s, top 10s over the course of the year? And then the likes of Tipton, the likes of Duell, the likes of Pecorio really do start becoming, maybe, dare I say it, championship favourites.
Well, that is going to be bold. Brian Duell, of course, a driver famous for not winning, and not winning with a passion, I think is the right word. And, well, leading this trainer for that, he's got Pecorio, Lockwood, Sites. You know, maybe you look at someone like a Greg Sykes, who's always a nearly man, and, you know, we've seen championships that have been won by one race, someone like Keke Rosberg. We've also seen championships won, Will, where nobody wins a race at all. And that could be something very, very scary to see at times.
Yeah, Brian Duell, by the way, is your biggest mover inside the top 10, up 10 places from where he started. Pecorio up 7 places, and Enzo Cantor up 6. But Devon Singh is up 11 spots, your highest inside the top 15. Give a shout out to Casey Black, he's up 12 places. Mike McCormick is up 12 places as well, as Edwin Ballerino is involved in a battle with Daniel Negurius for P12.
Yes, he is, but I was having a little look at Vinicius Rocha's last lap. He dropped half a second overall in comparison to the leaders. So I think that was all down in turn number 1. So he's got to be careful that he's not going to be reeled in, starting to make mistakes. But yes, you're right. Daniel Nogueras in the 135 having to scrap with Viorine as they head themselves up the hill, looking towards Shivak, the right-hander. What a fantastic corner it is. It sort of wants you to try and respect it. It grabs you in, it spits you out and goes, no, 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 you're going to wait. If you're not going to wait, you're going to go off in that gravel. And this is almost like a stadium, the way that gravel just almost looks over you with menacing eyes and goes, no, you don't want to be with me, do you?
Yeah, and it sets up into Mulber Corner as well perfectly, because Mulber Corner is one of these corners that if you mess up Shivak, you're just completely lost into there, and then that sets you up poorly into Renault, so on and so forth. So some fantastic corners. You're right, it is a stadium section in the way it looks and the way it feels on track. Kurt Crum, Tran right now. This is for P at number 10. Now, Tran had got himself past Crum about 2 laps ago, but Crum is not allowing Tran to put away.
And fair play to him. Kurt Crum has every reason to fight back for a top 10. He's started 18th position. He wants to be +8. He was +8 at one stage. Tuan Tran is trying to hold on to everything. He started 2nd, remember. He's down to 10th of all places. So Tuan Tran, yeah, he was great on the 1 lap, but, you know, today, I think he wins the Mark Webber Award.
He does. He also wins the award for being darn unlucky at points, especially when he had that tag earlier on in the motor race. But that pit stop, I mean, yeah, on one hand, he could have binned that completely. On the other hand, you know, there's that risk-reward factor, and I think he went just a little bit too far on the risk side.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one, Will. And I think that when you're looking at someone like Tuan Tran, you have to make sure that you put yourself in a situation where you can finish a race before you can start thinking about positions. And I think that's what Tuan Tran has got wrong here today. That's what he has to go back and look at over the next 2 weeks before we head to our next lovely little trip in a couple of weeks' time to the Circuit of the Americas. Whereas you know very well, and I know very well, Will, there is no forgiveness at that circuit.
Oh, no, not at all at Circuit of the Americas. Now, there's 1 or 2 bits about that track which remind me a bit of Zandvoort. It's not got the camera in the corners, etc., but, you know, it can be as unforgiving as this one. Of course, yeah, here you've got, you know, grass and gravel, but at Circuit of the Americas, especially in sector number 1, you've got yourself those nice little anti-cut curves.
Oh, they do not forgive and they do not forget in any vehicle that you have. I've seen many a vehicle roll, many an accomplished driver go up and over on those curbs. And, you know, you talk about the top of the game drivers right now, the likes of, say, a Fabrice Cornelis or a Cohen Klotman. I've even seen the likes of a Marcus Hamilton go over them and not survive. And he's one of the drivers who is arguably the most consistent in sim racing today. So that shows you how bad Circuit of the Americas can be to drivers who step an inch out of line. These drivers have to be careful about that. The gap across the line is, again, 2.4 seconds for Justin Tipton. I think he's now chasing waterfalls a little bit. He's relying on miracles a little bit. And I think Vinicius Rocha, I think he's just got to drive sensible from now to the end. I don't see a way that Justin Tipton's going to chase down another half a second a lap. 51.1s are nice, but 51.1s is what you could argue Vinicius Rocha's been running all race.
The really bad thing about that comment there, Jake, is now I'm going to have to go and figure out who sung that song. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So anyone who's wondering why I'm not paying attention, of course I am paying attention. It's Greg Seats there, almost running into the rear of Brian Lockwood. That was on the run through Hugenhoit's corner. Now at the hill they come, but Seats versus Lockwood, that battle's continuing between 2 drivers who are, I would say, a little peeved right now.
I would say so too, because they've worked hard and they've completely lost the train of Precario and Duell, and they thought that they had an opportunity, but from second, you could argue all the way back to about 16th position there or thereabouts. You've got Battle Packer 2 as Devin Singh looks to the outside of Christian Kabanga into Shivak. Not the traditional overtaking place around the outside, but he has to sit back into line, and that's a very scary game when you have to sit and wait and wait and wait and wait.
It was written by the band TLC, and it got a Grammy, 2 Grammy nominations for its performance as well. There we are. We're all back up to date. Now, I want to talk about Malloy versus Justin Tipton, because it looks as though that Malloy's doing the traditional thing here, Jake, of just waiting patiently in line. However, Tarzan Corner is not like a normal turn number 1. We talked about it already. You can take the high side here in turn number 1, basically brake as late as you humanly possibly can, take that outside line. and then try and work yourself around the outside through into 2, or dive down the inside? Which one would you take?
The inside. Obviously, you get the inside then for turn number 3, which I think is a very crucial factor. And I think if you're going to be trying to make a move on the final lap, you want to take the path of least resistance. Going around the outside presents a lot of risks. It also presents, Will, the difficulty of actually having to rely on the driver on the inside, not tracking to the outside come the exit of the corner, which is the natural racing line. And I think that's what I think that Alfredo Malo has to be careful about, has to go to the inside, but I think it's something Tipton will defend when it comes to the final lap.
Devon Singh versus Christian Kabanga's going on. Greg Zeitz and Brian Lockwood going on all at the same time. Singh ahead of Kabanga. Zeitz staying behind Lockwood for the time being.
But he didn't really have too many choices there, did Greg Zeitz, and, well, he's looking for the opportunity now off the exit. Almost a bump draft. Stewards, have a look there. That was a little bit of a push. It said in the rules you're not allowed to make contact nose to rear, so Greg Zeitz, I think he'll claim that he'll plead the 5th, that I haven't bump drafted at all. You'll have to judge that for yourself, but I think he's going to need a few friends here to really get himself out of that. He was so lucky.
He was indeed. Brian Dewell versus Andrew Picorio as well. That one's picking up for 6th place on track. Picorio in the number 168 car, Brian Dewell number 88 machine. So the good thing is then, even though we've not had too many, you know, packs of cars battling it out like we see at certain tracks, we've got a nice couple of battles to go on for the end of this motor race.
Oh, we do, and I think that it's been brilliant racing throughout. I think that everybody's played that game as Alfredo Malo brings the gap down but backs out of it most crucially as the gap comes down to 2.3, but it's a little too late here, Justin. If you wanted this victory, you're relying on Mr. Fuel Save Man to not find any fuel save to go on it. It may not be T-minus 100.
Oh,
he's hoping.
back in.
Oh, he's not. He's underfilled?
Maybe. That's a weird one.
That's bizarre.
Maybe it was because of the fact that he was trying to focus too much on his damage, getting that repaired, and maybe didn't spend enough on the fuel, or the speeding penalty. He sped on towards pit road, didn't focus on his fuel number, and he got doubly hit then as a consequence. So not a good end of this race for Tran Tran.
No, it's been a horrible home race. It started with so much promise, and then it ended up like Star Wars Episode 3 in the end.
Or you leave that alone.
Okay.
It'll be a... Nah, it's all right. As we are. 21.8 there for Tran Tran. So long stop. Not really sure at all what's happened to him in this motor race. Just the last couple of looks then. Edward Valerino versus Daniel Nogures. This is for P number 11. Down to... Oh, that's a bold move there by Edwin Valerino. He makes the move, but is that legal there, Jake? That was close.
It was. He was all over that curb. He got lucky. There was room given by Daniel Nogures, and, well, if the door's open, you might as well decide to pop in for a cup of tea, and I think that's what Valerino decided. He didn't get a slowdown penalty for it. He got potentially a bit of damage on the front wing, but, you know, if it's within the rules, you go and take it. You play by the rules, Will. It's like, very good move.
It's like we're back at Daytona all over again. Heaven help me. Alfredo Malo then down to the inside. Here we go. White flag out. Malo's like, my time is now. And, well, he's up into P number 2, but it's not over yet, Jake, because now there's the chance for Tipton to come back.
Yes, but Tipton's had a shocking run after a fantastic bit of draft from the driver of Alfredo Malo. I think that Tipton knows that he's got to have the most almightiest of runs through the second half of this circuit, a part of the circuit where Alfredo Malo, look, he's pulling away from Tipton, 10th on 10th. Where was this Alfredo Malo to close down Vinny Rocha? Answer, not trying to beat Vinny Rocha.
Or is Tipton light on fuel?
That could be a very easy opportunity to say as well. Tipton, he did jump Malo in the stop. I think he's got to stay behind. I think maybe that could have also been the game that Alfredo Malo was trying to play. I think Tipton could have done the Rocha.
Casey Black then just overtaking Francois Boulien side by side into Hogan Holt's corner. Casey Black looks as though he's going to have that one done for himself for now. Up for the final couple of corners then for Vinicius Rocha. Now his next corner will be the Audi S. as well. For Vinny, he has pretty much led the entire way here, except during the sequence of pit stops behind. Justin Tipton's nowhere to be found. Brian Lockwood versus Greg Zeitz. That one's calmed down enough. Bacoria versus Duell is going to take a very big lunge now for Bacoria to make this one work. Nothing just yet, but there might still be more to come as they all cross the start-finish line. Let's go then and turn our attention to Vinicius Rocha, heading himself out the final corner. He will claim victory here at Circuit Zandvoort. Vinicius Rocha is your winner here at Zandvoort. Second place will go to Malo Jr. just at the line. Oh no, does Tipton get it?
Tipton got it.
Tipton got it.
Hang on, did Malo have a slowdown? I don't think he served his last slowdown, Will. That's why I think we're seeing him drop so far down the order. If that was the penultimate corner or somewhere along those lines, then Alfredo Malo, unfortunately, is going to have a massive penalty because he didn't serve the slowdown.
Where?
Well, Audi S could have been one option. And just looking at it from a perspective, he could have been heavy over the curbs at any one of the last 4 corners. And it's so marginal here that you have to be so careful. That's the only thing I can really say, Will, is he didn't serve a slowdown.
He was okay. He was okay. I'm not quite sure. I'm very confused there with Malo. Very confused with Malo. Unless he had a piece of contact right at the end. We need to turn our camera around and see what we can see here at the final corner. I've got a bad feeling as what could have happened. But let's have a look, because they both come to the start-finish line. I'm very, very, very confused there. We are showing it as Vinicius Rocha, Justin Tipton, Borges Arzo. To give you an update from Zeitz versus Lockwood. Zeitz won that battle over Lockwood. Okay, that was interesting. Bit of a weird finish then. Go on.
Will.
Yep.
I think it has to be at that second to last corner. It's so marginal, but it is just all 4 tyres off of the white line. But then the argument you see is that Justin Tipton does exactly the same thing and gets away with it. I don't know where he's done it, but he has done it somewhere.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find anything out there from Alfredo Malo. Here we are. This is a way back, actually. So we're just going to ride on board with him for a moment. Actually, this is a good look from Renault corner onwards, but that's the thing here, Jake. You got to complete a full race distance, and if you get it at the last corner or last couple of corners, the pressures of drivers sometimes, it can be that, you know, this would have been one of Malo's best finishes in fact, it would have been his best finish in 2K World Cup, and he threw it away maybe with just a couple of 100 meters to go.
That's sometimes the margin it has to take, and you know, it's heartbreaking for Alfredo Malo. He'll probably see what happened better than we will, and we probably won't get a chance to interview Alfredo in the long run for it, but it's going to be one of those unsolved mysteries. What happened to Alfredo Malo at Zandvoort? That's going to be the question that I think a lot of people will be wanting to know, but nobody's really going to have an answer for.
Yeah, so let's have a look then at your final race results here from Zandvoort. Vinicius Rocha wins them by 2.3 seconds over Justin Tipton. Borges Arzo comes home in 3rd place. Enzo Cantor in 4th. Andrew Picorio in 5th. Greg Zeitz, Brian Lockwood, Brian Dewell, Kurt Crum, and Edwin Ballerino rounds out your top 10. Then Daniel Nagurias, Christian Kabanga, Devon Zing, Miguel Garcia Sanchez, and Francois Boulien round out your top 15. Chris Malcolm, Casey Black, Roman Kajka, Iro Nom, and Sebastian Schultz. They are P number 16 through 20. Rob Adams, Carl Dronke, Andreas Robertson, P number 1 through 23. Turan, 2 pit stops. We're still confused as to what happened with him. P number 24 of that second service. And then you see the remainder of your result up on your screen. Malo, 31st position, 1 lap down. I think I know what happened, but we'll talk about it in commercial. We'll put our heads together. Felipe Berg, 39th place. Johnny Gawindi, 40th here today. And there's a look at the remainder of your results. Let us step aside for a moment, catch our breath, put some wings in the fryer. We'll be back with more after this.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Racesport TV and iRacing Live to our post-race coverage of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulations. And well, there's a look at our top 10. We're not going to lie, Jake, we still don't know what happened to Mallow.
We don't, and it's scary about this. That you can summarize any which way that you can think of for what that happened on the final laps or so. It won't be a meatball, I can tell you that for a guarantee. All I know is that it hasn't counted for the final lap, Alfredo Mallow going through and making that last lap. So something had to happen. Something would have been a penalty. He must have cut a corner somehow by the finest of margins, not served it, or something along those lines. Otherwise, we may be talking to some people from a certain higher up position than what we have about this.
Yeah, we have, however, got people to speak to. Vinicius Rocha is back in the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulations, and he is our winner, Vinny. Welcome back to Victory Lane.
Thank you, Will. It's good to be back. First race here in the Cup. Position and a win. So I think it was the best comeback I could wish for.
You didn't really have much to race for. As soon as those lights went off, seemed to be you got yourself ahead. Tran fell in behind, and from there on, pretty much you drove away. How hard were you really racing it though?
Well, at the beginning, I was doing my best to break away from Antoine. And I guess he got in a fight with Justin and Alfredo and the other guys. So it was it was easier for me to pull away. And then later I had only to, I don't know, manage the distance, save fuel whenever it was possible, make a good pit stop, and bring the car home.
Did you actually put in the right amount of fuel this time and take it easy for once?
Sorry?
Did you actually put in enough fuel this time and take it easy, or were you just trying to save fuel to the end?
Yeah, because sometimes I mess up the pit stop, so this time I was like in safe mode all the way.
Well, 2 weeks' time, we're going to head the series over to America, to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. We're going to see you back for that one?
Yeah, definitely. That is one of my favorite circuits. Really fun to race there, and I'm looking forward to it.
And shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you?
Yeah, I would like to thank my mates, Philippe, Justin, Diogo, Greg, who raced it today. All the guys for the fun, always. Of course, for Philippe for making it possible, organizing, and you guys for the broadcast.
Well, thank you very much there. Vinicius Rocha coming home with the victory here today in what was overall, Jake, a pretty easy race by his standards.
Yeah, I've seen Vinicius Rocha being challenged more. I've seen him have to pull out the strategy book and try and make it happen. We've seen it happen. We've seen it not happen with Vinicius Rocha. It's more straightforward, I think, is the right word for it. And I think that he'll be very grateful for a softball, shall we say, to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, indeed, sir. You're stood by the driver who came home in second place. That driver is Justin Tipton.
Justin, do you know what happened to Alfredo Malo on the last lap?
No. I mean, you know, I thought he was supposed to start from pit lane, and so I decided not to fight him because I thought I would still get second place.
Oh, so that would be very interesting in itself if that was a steward's decision to make something like that happen, but that would have probably shown up on our screen if something like that would happen. But Justin, enough speculation, because, you know, this whole race isn't about Alfredo Malo, it's about you. And, you know, I said at the beginning of the race, I said, who's my pick to win? I said Justin Tipton. I was expecting a breakout performance. Well, it wasn't quite exactly a win, but it was still a performance that duly delivered for you. I think that's the best result I think I've ever seen you have here in the 2K World Cup.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I have to thank my my team and my wife Caroline and daughter Anne for, you know, they've really helped me get faster and faster each week, and I'm working hard, and hopefully this becomes more of a regular thing and not a once a year thing.
Oh, I absolutely bet. And well, looking to make that push. Second place here today. You're looking maybe in 2 weeks' time at Circuit of the Americas. You're thinking about opportunity. You're thinking about where you're looking to be on the aggressive, on the attack. Circuit of the Americas, though, do you feel that it's a circuit where you have to play defense?
Yeah, I mean, the front straight with the layout we're going to have is pretty much the best passing opportunity, but if you defend it well, it's hard to get by. We had it as our random race, and it was really challenging to get by people. So yeah, I've got to get faster and just qualify well for that race.
Yeah, well, you've got to make sure you get that qualification all working for you. But second place, of course, you thanked your family, but is there anybody else you'd like to give a thank you to, especially your team?
Yeah, I mean, all the guys on the team, you know, they've really helped me since I joined the team back in July. And also a shout out to Johnny. He was my coach about a year ago, and helped me get from, you know, middling in the mid pack to moving up the ranks.
Well, that's always a very good option. The team that has not been named, Justin Tipton will thank, but he didn't tiptoe around. Justin Tipton
got
himself up. He got himself to second, Will.
Come on, Jake.
I have been awake for 25 hours. What do you expect me to say?
I've still got a Super Bowl to watch.
Good for you.
You're going to watch it as well.
Yeah, you're going to force me to watch.
Okay. So we've got Enzo Cantor. He's stood by, and he's also with you, Jake.
Oh, that's lovely. I have all the time in the world for Enzo Cantor, no matter how tired I am. Enzo, talk to me about your race.
Hi guys, hi my friend. Well, do you think I'm happy for this fourth place? No, I'm not happy at all, because I was completely out of pace. I was unable to gain some times in some corners, and I did a mistake in the pits, because my button didn't work to start to stop the refuel, and I made a longer pit stop. I put in my car 2 liters more than enough, so I lost, I think, about 2 or 3 seconds, and I could exit the pit stop in front of Borja, or near him, following him, and so we could battle for the third place till the end. And that mistake, while I was driving, I was crying, because that stupid mistake made me impossible to catch him again. I have to say congratulations to him, because he had a very consistent pace, almost the same pace of mine, but every time I tried to push a little too hard, I went over driving, and I lost precious tenths, while him didn't feel any pressure, so he deserved that position. And yeah, I think I have to be a little bit happy for this fourth place, but I have to improve, because I'm not fast as I would.
Well, it's not necessarily the quickest race that you've had, but in terms of what that means for your championship and the points that you put onto the table coming off of this event, you know, you're still putting yourself inside of the top 10. You still got yourself results that are working for you, that are completely in your favor, and you're actually setting yourself up for a good championship with all your rivals dropping around you. You know, are you feeling that, you know, this is your biggest opportunity you've had in the 2K World Cup for a long time?
Yeah, you are right. The problem is that I cannot drop the points I've scored in the first race, because I started from the pits, and the rules, with the rules, you can't drop the week with starting from the pits. So I think I will have not many chance to finish the championship in the top 5, but I will try. And yeah, I have to be happy, because I think you saw many disasters in this race, and no disaster I made, no one. So I think I am less hot-blooded than before. I was patient, and I don't know if you like more this version of Enzo Canta, of the other one, the previous one, in which I did some aggressive moves.
I like the version of Enzo Canta where he makes aggressive moves and he sticks them. That's the Enzo Canta that I like. But Circuit of the Americas in 2 weeks' time, that's certainly a corner that makes me think there's an Enzo Canta move or two that's going to be implemented, shall we say. How are you feeling heading to a circuit which is notorious for picking up a 1x instant point?
Sincerely, I don't like so much that track, because my driving style is not probably the best one to manage that track. There are so many opportunities to make a great pass, braking hard. So I think probably I will be more aggressive there. But in these years I learned to drive with my brain also, and well, we'll see. I don't know. I hope to be fast enough to start in the top 5 in the starting grid.
Well, that certainly seems to be the case. We've learned 2 things there from talking to Enzo Canta there, Will. 1, he needs a new wheel from Thrustmaster. 2, he doesn't need to cry over spilt tenths.
So, what you mean? I didn't understand.
It's fine. Don't worry about it, Enzo.
Thank you very much, Enzo.
Well,
go on, Enzo.
Can I only say thanks to someone?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Of course you can.
Yeah, I'm joking. So I have to say thanks to my teammate Fabio Mantellini as always, my team Mivano, my sponsor Stalos Master, TRL, Cube, and my wife and my son. And obviously, thank you for the broadcast, Will and Jake, and thanks to Philippe Lebert, because I think his work is really awesome. There are many years in which he is doing this incredible work with this league and other posts on the forum. So really thanks to him.
Well, thank you very much, both there to Jake and to Enzo Cantor. Jake, final thoughts?
I'd like some sleep. I think that would be very useful for me right now, but we have ourselves a Scooby-Doo mystery. We have ourselves a returning face to the top. We have every championship rival that has come before slipping up, not turning up, you name it, the kitchen sink has been thrown down. And I think we are due for a really enthralling season, one that DES Simulations, who present this, would have never expected to have happen on what is arguably one of the greatest series that comes in, season out, time and time again, Will.
One more question.
Yes.
Patriots or Eagles?
Eagles.
Okay.
Just.
Okay. I'm not allowed to say anything because let's not forget where iRacing are based.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So that's why I'm going to say even more then.
And one more thing, I have got to be honest, I blew it.
You did blow it.
I said there'll be 100 million eyes looking at US Bank Stadium in Minnesota. Of course, what I meant is 100 million pairs of eyes, because otherwise the NFL will be really upset about their viewing records for the Super Bowl if they only had 50 million people watching or thereabouts. So that's all we got time for here tonight from the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation. Thank you so much for being a part of our broadcast. We'll talk to you all in 2 weeks at Circuit of the Americas. Good night.
We'll be right back.